say something else, but it really got to me. What was told at the Sunday school meeting. But Peter was in prison. How he got out. You know the story about the angel coming in. Like 16 soldiers looking, keeping there. King Herod, what he thought about how good it was he killed James, and all the Jews were happy. He put Paul in. He figured back in those days that when you were in jail, they put you in jail. You weren't there for 10, 15 years. You were there, so they wanted to kill you probably, because you're always guilty, no matter what. As you look through with Peter, that the angel came in, broke the chains, because they had 2 soldiers chained to him, plus 2 outside, had like 16 total coming, watching over him. Now when the angel broke his chains, Paul, or Peter, was still, he was groggy. The angel actually had to tell him to get dressed. So you know Peter had nothing to do with it, about putting on his, whatever the word they use, girth, or whatever, with the sandals and stuff like that there. So I take that as, you know, Peter had nothing to do with it. It was all God's actions that he did. As it came to when he escaped, he went back to the house where they all praying for him. And Rhoda came out at the gate, and heard it was sounded like Peter. She didn't invite him in. She ran back to the house saying, Peter's out there. And everybody thought she was nuts. Yeah. Well, he came in, and they're all praying for him and stuff like that there. Now, what I got out of this story was, like, everybody knows him, or knows somebody that's in prison right now. Well, how did they get into prison? A lot of it has to do with, I call it stinking thinking. When I was growing up, I used the word TW, the abbreviation TWA, thoughts, words, and actions. Well, what I did, I acted on it, talked about it, and then thought about it later. That got me in a lot of trouble. Now, we have a lot of people not with the situation with Paul, with the brick and mortar jails and stuff like that there. But I know there's a lot of people that's in prison in their mind when it comes to stuff. I know that held me back a lot. I think some of you people that would have knew me before I was 33 years old wouldn't, some of them wouldn't let me come up here and talk.
Oh, yeah?
Not you.
Oh.
But,
What's he doing up there?
that's right. That's right.
You only knew him.
Yeah, you only knew. But that is one good thing
It's quite a time that what's going on there right now. And a couple of things we need to try and understand and get set in our mind. In that country, it's multiple choice to worship. There's 5 days of worship. Starts early in the week. There's the Muslim day, their worship day, and this actually goes on. The worship day for the Muslims. The worship day for the Greek Orthodox. The worship day for the Catholics. The worship day for the Jews, which is on Saturday. And then Sunday, which is a worship day for the Christian. So right off the bat, there is confusion. It is like being on the Saturday night midway at the York County Fair. It's like anything and everything you can see going in all different directions. They're all, now some people will tell you, they're all going to the same place. They're all worshiping for the same purpose. And they're all worshiping for the same God. That's wrong. Can't be. Because we are going to read in the book of Acts. I don't want you to go there yet. That's a little later. But in the book of Acts 17, 6 and 7 talks about the King Jesus. King Herod, King Agrippa, and all those. It's just one more king after another. So you had all these kings, one after another, and there's only one King Jesus. Also here in the book of Galatia, it talks about the present day of evil. Now think about the 5 days of worship. The Arabs, the Muslims, the Catholics, the Jews, the Orthodox, the Jews, and the Christians. Each day, we were at Gethsemane. One of the days, I forget which day it was, but it was like earlier in the week, and there's all these peoples and buses loads of people coming to town, and I asked our guide, I said, what's going on? What are all these people doing in town? Surely they aren't all tourists. Oh, they are coming for worship. Today's their day of worship. And that's when I discovered how many times, see, in our schools at home, they don't teach us everything. Even today, they don't teach us everything. They only teach us what the progressives want us to know, and we're not going to get into that because then that gets into a whole lot of other things. But the fact is, they don't teach us. They didn't teach us that growing up in the New Fairview Church of the Brethren. They didn't teach us that there's 5 worship days in Israel, Jerusalem. By the time you sit through a couple of sessions in the Church of the Brethren for the Easter coming time, you've got this thing in the point of your head. Jerusalem, Bethlehem, Bedouin tents, donkeys, horses, soldiers, just all that stuff. No way is it in your mind that there's diamond factories and there's computers and computer programmers and everything that you can think of in the United States of America in Washington, D.C. is in Jerusalem, except our government. You got just as many government people there. Some good, some bad. But the thing that clouded my in Syria right now. And in Galatia right here it talks about he took us out of the sin. He took us out of the evil days. And the evil days has taken us away from it. His word has taken us away. Right now in Syria, they have discovered slaughterhouses. Christians and Muslims, straight Muslims, meaning when I say straight Muslims, they're not the radicals. They're not the nutcases of the Muslims. They're Muslims who worship in peace and don't bother anybody. The slaughterhouses they've found hanging naked, feet upside down, disemboweled. You don't know what disemboweled means? Their guts out and beheaded. They got them hanging on meat hooks, thousands of them. Christians have been mutilated. The Muslims who are following their religion, the purest part of their religion, however that can be, are hanging, headless and gutless. And it just makes me sick to my stomach to even think of that. I worked in a butcher shop. I know what it's like to slaughter and rack them, whether pigs or cattle or sheep or goats. I know what it's like. And so we're living in a time where there's a lot of preaching. You're hearing a lot of preaching. You're hearing a lot of preaching about that we often fall into the trap. In fact, Larry Burkett, Dave Ramsey, Larry's dead. Dave Ramsey, he's making godzillion dollars. And those of you know him, what's he making these godzillion dollars from? Teaching people how to save money. That's good. But then, like, for what?
And how to get out of debt.
That's good.
And he uses biblical principles.
That's good.
But that's where he's making his money from.
Teaching people how to become wealthy. Carol, you want to be wealthy? You are pretty wealthy. Pretty and wealthy. There, I said it.
Yes.
You're wealthy. Do you ever go without a meal? That you don't want to. Right? Richard, do you ever go without a meal? Ed, do you ever go without a meal? Purposely or just didn't have the money? You be truthful. Okay, pass on that one. If David goes by without a meal, it's his fault. Living in a house where somebody else provides everything. It's his fault if you don't eat. But here we have a convoluted time, a time that we're living in. If you don't like the church that you're in or the religion you're hearing, you can just go down the street and there's another. If you're not sure, you just turn it down on the radio and you can come up with about anything you want. If you're direct TV or satellite TV, whatever, or cable TV, makes no difference. And you don't like what they're talking about, you just turn it down. Just go right on. And every once in a while you can get this is slice, dice, ice, whatever. It'll cook, it'll do this, it'll clean itself for $18.99. But wait, if you like that now, we're going to send you not one but two of them, and then we're going to send you a book along with it. And so you just flip the dial to whatever you want. We fall into the trap of what we hear. One preacher was talking about sermon. He said that this particular sermon was that you got to constantly work. But I agree with that.
Amen.
Never give up. I agree with that. but your really well can disappear overnight. Then you gotta have something solid. You gotta have something solid. It's like a brand new car, a brand new pickup. As a rule, they come with payments. And they feel so good when you're riding and sporting around with them, and they're doing things that the old vehicle didn't do. And they do all the things that they advertise on television that they can do. But after that, guess what? The first payment comes. Then the next payment comes. And then the next payment comes. And after 2.5 years, the next payments. You know they got 72-month deals out there. They finance a deal for a vehicle for 72 months. My golly! You get tired of, especially we Americans, in the words of Elizabeth, you get bored. You get bored with that vehicle. And we adults, and we start seeing these advertisements on television. Lee's got something on the back of that pickup of his. I like that. You flip the pickup down, and you pull on the tailgate, pull the lever out, and a step goes down, and there's a handle on it. And you just climb right up on that pickup truck. No more stretching up over and scratching the side over your belt buckle. And I like that. I like when you get inside, don't feel like a pickup. That one he's got feels like a Cadillac inside. It is so plush and so nice. Got a back seat full of tools like it always does. Got in so much junk in there that the mice make a nest. But it's beautiful inside. And I told him, anytime you're ready, I'll trade you even up. people moving during his preaching. He holds the attention of people. And down through the years, there have been old Roberts, came out and give God. Seed faith. We'll send you this right here. You send this. And you send, and believe it or not, this week, we've got a special this week. We're going to send you this Bible. Especially, I think maybe Jesus signed it himself, whatever the situation. Now I'm going to see to it. Remember, anybody have PTO Bibles yet? I have.
My mom did.
PTO all on the parallel edition. Man, when they come out of that, I thought that was hard. And sweet sugar cakes. Boy, they were nice. Parallel edition. And for anybody that says, oh, I can't understand what the King James is saying. Well, there you are, buddy. It's right alongside the King James. Tells you exactly what they're trying to say. Come to our house sometime when Josh comes to pick up the kids. Now, poor Hosey and Carmi's developed a Spanish of her own. It's a mixture of English and a mixture of her dad's Spanish, and she just kind of runs it in there, and it's kind of a mixture. But you'll have to stand there and listen to how interesting it gets as to when Linda, who is hearing impaired, will try to interpret to me what Josh is trying to say to the kids. That's funny. And I don't mean funny to make light of her, but sometimes some of the things they say is funny. Well, some of the things that preachers and television evangelists are saying are funny and peculiar funny. You buy this Bible here right now for $150. It's got all the answers in it. Well, I'll tell you what, back there at our giveaway table, there's Bibles right back there. Go pick one out. Anybody that needs one, give it to them. It's got all the answers to it. There might be a paperback edition back there. Part of the paperback's gone. It'll still leak you. I have that New Testament Bible that was given to my mother when she was 13 years old. It's hard to read. The pages are all got creamy yellow and, of course, black print. And it's hard to read. It's a New Testament. When her 13th birthday was given to her. And you know how those New Testaments, even today, I guess they print them. And they got the new books, the New Testament books, and then in the back they got the Psalms. Okay? And that book, I don't even think that maybe that when they bought that for Mom, that the Sunday school department over there at the church gave even $1. I don't know. But I know one thing for sure. If you study and you read what's in that New Testament, you can get saved. And you can use that to lead somebody to the Lord. Are we caught up in sermons that focus on becoming financially successful? And don't misunderstand me. Larry Burkett and Dave Ramsey have done fantastic jobs for people. But some people have read into it. And they become so self-driven to become the most wealthy that they become so earthly good they're no heavenly good. Amen. That all they think about is money. That's all they think about. Well, that is all you think about when the rent's due and you need gas in the furnace and there's not much in the refrigerator and you don't have a whole lot of money, right? Betsy? It's not hard to be thinking about money. But when you're sitting in a ministry and it's 2:13. John 2:13.
When it was almost time for the Jewish Passover, Jesus went up to Jerusalem.
Did we miss something? Did I miss something? Oh, okay. Just start there. And in the temple courts, he found what?
Men selling cattle, sheep, doves, and others sitting on tables exchanging money.
Now here's a perfect picture of religious leaders making preparation. The religious leaders were making preparation because in that day, if you stole something from somebody, you had to take to the temple a certain bird or dove, let's use the word dove, for a sacrifice to be forgiven. Or you had to take a goat for a certain sin forgiven. And the same went with the calf. So the religious leaders of the day decided, well, shoot, why don't we just get set up here? We've got these 5 groups of people coming into worship from all over the nation, all over the countryside, and all over the world. And some are carrying Jewish money, some are carrying Arabic money, and some are carrying Egyptian money. So why don't we just set up the tables and make it easy for them? Make preparation for this crowd when they come, and then Billy Joe, he can bring in his pigeons, and Sarah May, she can bring in her doves, and Harry can bring in his calves, and Billy can bring in his goats. Get it? Billy goat. And then we got the people right here, and to set up the tables right here in the sanctuary. Now you couldn't do it here, but that big church we were at a funeral a couple of months ago in Market Street, you got room to set things up in there. Living Word, you got room to set things up in there. And then all they have to do is exchange their money, make a purchase, and then go to wherever they slaughter, and bang, bingo, what a great country. What a setup. Yeah, what a setup. So the religious leaders were making ready. Religious leaders today are making ready. They're month after month, or several times a year, they have programs how to become successful, how to become to the point that you're independently wealthy, get independent, and so you can give more money to the church. After all, if you've got more money, you're successful, and you got more money to the church. And that's the motive, and not the motive of preparation for the kingdom to come. Just like us, believe it or not, I talked to Lee Reba Friday, and he's already talking about
A new truck. Barbecue.
close Steam-A-Rama barbecue. I said, Lee, that's so far away I can't even think about it. Well, we got to do this, we got to do that. Well, the thing of it is, the closer we get to the Steam-A-Rama time, the more preparation we make. Amen? And we make the preparation, we get together for, and we got to be a little more prepared than last year. We thought I had everything covered, and the cooker was down at my house. And I left the road, and I went across some of you were there and helped us after our neighbor welded it and put it back together and then took it on down to Steamer Rama. And that was the day before, right? The night before, Chris and Deb and whoever, I don't remember who all, were there and helped flip it over once Lauren had gotten it welded. But we were all working to get it prepared for business the next day. Now, here's the thing. Jesus went in there and said, now listen here. I know what y'all do. You're trying to get things set. But this is my Father's house. That's why I hope, as long as I'm pastor, I'd rather not see these pews be tore out and individual clipped together chairs be put in this sanctuary. I would prefer to see it the way it is. And you can always buy more pillows. We've had several people who were seamstress, and they used to do it for a living, who had measured and said that they were going to build the lawns, nice ones, and you can buy them like that. And I guess those measurements and all that's still at their house because they're gone, the measurements are gone, and now each one of these have, according to your dairy area, you got something to fit. That's the way it goes. But they're making preparation to try and get it nice. Well, Uncle Jake used to be Dale Miller Plant Farm. That was Jacob Miller. He was one of the, well, at that time he was a moderator, one of the founders. His dad was a founder of the New Fairview Church of the Brethren. And he used to say, you don't want to make it too comfortable. People would be sleeping all the time. You know, I've fallen asleep on the tractor, cultivating. Boy, I get a whale for that. Plowed out the corn. We're talking about getting ready for the kingdom. Getting ready for the kingdom. Now, how would you get ready for the kingdom? We know how to get ready to succeed in the business world. We know how to get ready. You send us only $22.99 and we'll send you our book and you start reading this book and you learn all the secrets about the loan companies, the banks, and properties that you can get from the government for X amount of dollars, and you're all the way, you're on the road to success. You've heard those advertisements. But you've also heard down year after year preachers and television shows telling us about military guys who were queer. They protested out in front of churches, and I don't agree with it, but I'm not going to stand out there and ruin somebody's time of a loved one who died so that I can express myself. But he's gone. And I've read a couple of things, and some people said, well, that's good. It's good he's gone. But guess what? There'll be somebody else come up. And that was their main thrust. So there's so many different churches that their main theme is not making preparation for our heavenly home. Making preparation for the trip. When do you leave it out, Randy? When do you go out?
Early this afternoon.
Early this afternoon. Are you going to leave from here? Chuck down a burger or something? Jump in the truck and leave?
Yep.
Or you got something that you've already made preparation when you park that rascal? Or when you get ready to crawl in there today?
It's already done.
It's already done. And that's the way it is with we as believers. It's got to already be done. I'm so thrilled that Elizabeth has got hooked on, believe it or not, Ricky Skaggs.
Ricky Skaggs, what was that?
Yeah. A song that Troy and I had done for years, and still do when we get together. Hallelujah, I'm ready. Hallelujah, I'm ready. Hallelujah, I'm ready. It's on a CD from Gaither's Bluegrass Gospel. In the darkness of night, the Lord comes, and I'm ready. I'm ready. And that's what we're talking about. Preparation to being ready. Ready to crank that engine and roll on out. Gas feed down and fuel, diesel. Pedal down and smoke up. You're ready. Ready to go. You wouldn't attempt to pull away with only an eighth of a tank of fuel. Right? No.
One or two times I have.
And what happened?
We'll have to stop her there to get fuel.
Yeah. And you get paid by the run or by the hour?
By the miles.
The miles, okay. When you're sitting pumping gas, you're not getting any money.
No.
Okay? The same way with us. If we're just sitting warming the pew, and we're not making preparation, guess what? I'm always thrilled when Wednesday nights and then sometimes Sunday morning, there's a bag of food in our car. Richard's already got in his mind. He's already got in his mind that this week he'll pick up more groceries and there'll be some food. He's making preparation to see that there'll be a bag in our vehicle, whether we ask or not. There'll be a bag there for us, for the family, making preparation. Bev Nance, she keeps praying that April 15th. Is that still the date?
That's still the date, but now I'm not praying for that. I'm going to Virginia.
That's what I was going to get to. If you read my notes, Bev Nance wants it to continue. Here's the point. You making preparation. When you go back to work
What?
tomorrow, you've already prepared in your mind about going back tomorrow. And then Dennis, at his age, it's already in his head, I got to make the donuts tomorrow at 3 in the morning. Right, Dennis? that note there. It is a crazy thing what we teach. When you think about it, a woman, virgin, has a son, born of a virgin, laid in a stable, walked back and forth in this world, was crucified, rose from the dead. How crazy is that? That is crazy. Right? Now just think about it. Don't be thinking about it like a believer you've been for years. Think about how crazy that is. Think about if somebody come in here and they've got a revelation. You just don't have to walk right outside here, and there's going to be a man or woman that's going to pop up out of the grave and is going to lead us to eternity. That's crazy. That don't make a lick of sense. Well, it doesn't. It calls the wise to be foolish and the foolish to be wise. Acts 17, 6 and 7.
So when they did not find them, they dragged Jason and some of other brothers before the city officials, shouting, "These men who have caused trouble all over the world have now come here, and Jason has welcomed them into his house." They were all defying Caesar's decrees, saying that there is another king, one called Jesus.
There's another king, one called Jesus. A guy named Jason was a spiritual leader at that time. And the Jews got upset with what was going on because it started causing disturbance in the town. So they decided, well, we'll go to Jason's house because Paul and Silas is there. We go catch them rascals. We're going to stop this once and for all. Well, when they got there, Paul and Silas wasn't there. It goes on to say they found the guys. But the interesting thing is they found the guys that turned it upside down, turned the world upside down. I ask you that today. It is more, statement right before that I have, it's more than giving your 10% and then you're going to be okay. It takes more than that. Okay? But what about the ones who don't give their 10%? The ones who give their 10% but don't love the Lord and hadn't made preparation to go to heaven, thought they're going to get there on a dime on their 10%, they're going to be just disappointed as the ones who didn't give. Because the attitude of giving is another part of your preparation. Another preparation. An old story. Very wealthy lady on earth passed away. She was escorted into heaven. She met with Peter. Said, "Fine, I'm going to take you to your quarters." Walking on the streets of gold, past the gates of pearl, past this huge mountain, a mansion. Go past the huge mansion, it's big. She said, "Stop there, surely that's mine." Oh, St. Peter said, "No, that's not yours. Yours is back here." So they went around the back of the mansion, and in the back, this is a hypothetical story, but in the back, this place to teach and continue to teach the benefits of being a Christian. We're going to teach and continue to teach that a man rose, not a man, the man rose from the dead, and that gets you to heaven.
Amen.
Because he rose from the dead. And I'm also going to add to that, and if I'm wrong, if we're wrong, we lost nothing. I've had a good life. You had a good life, Richard?
Yes.
You had a good life. In the words of the Happy Goodmans, wouldn't take nothing from a journey now. Wouldn't take nothing from a journey now. Hallelujah. Glory. So when you're listening to televangelists, radio evangelists, those of you, that Carol has a pretty good commute up to where she works. Randy has a long commute to where he works. Many miles. Depends if you're riding around listening to your radio. I prefer WDAC during the day if I'm out and about. And I like some of the stuff, and there's some of the stuff they talk about I flip the button because I don't want to hear it. Every once in a while they have a song or two on there that sounds like they backed a dump truck full of tin cans up to the cliff and dumped it over the cliff, and the sound, they call that music. As we close, talking about teaching and preaching, you wonder why in the last couple of weeks I've been asking you, but it does trouble me that we are dwindling. These papers I had given you to fill out here, it's interesting. The first one I pick up, it says, what are you learning, that can help you grow? Progress and perfection. Because of what's being taught you, you're receiving progress and perfection. Serving God. What part of your spiritual life would you like to, or do you admit that you are in need of improvement? Study. What do you think? Your Christian life, does your Christian life draw other people to you, to the Lord? Most of the time. We have these interesting thing to get an idea, and now to hear somebody wrote a book. registered with the government, Kitty Property, Christ Chapel International Ministry, and Bishop Robert Guy Larkin. No one can touch it. No one can touch it. Where Fred was getting all, somebody blowing smoke up his butt, but where he was getting all upset about is he still wasn't able to go there and get the deed. Well, he can't get the deed because somehow through an overlook of whatever, there's $250 short of getting the property taken care of so we can get the deed in our hand. But it is registered. They have the deed there, they're holding, and the words of the attorneys, no one can come in and take that property. So praise God. God agreed. I instructed him to tell him that it's going to be some time to get to 250. And they said not to worry, it can't go anywhere. So that part of that's taken care of. Number two, hear what's been happening with the attorneys that you remember this week are going to have it, next Thursday you're going to have it, next Thursday you're going to have it. And it didn't seem like the attorney didn't have time. Well, the first of the week, our attorney, Nancy, went to the judge and went to court and said, this has been going too long. This has been dragging out. The decision has to be made. Well, they come to find out that Nancy and I met Wendy, the judge who handled the original squabble in 2010 when Delbert was with Nancy and I, and Delbert filmed the signing of the properties. And then we went to court. And even in Kenya, Delbert wasn't able to take video in court. He just wasn't allowed to. But anyhow, Wendy, who handled that originally, is no longer with that traditional system. She is way up country somewhere. And what we've come to find out is that the judge has taken care of it now. She's thinking that this is going to have to go into litigation. It does not have to go into litigation. As our attorney returned back to the judge, the court this week, and said it's already been passed judgment on, it's already taken care of. He said, here are the papers, it's their property. All we're faced with is vagrancy. And we have to get these people out so that these people can sell this property. And so then we were told next Monday, and I told Dennis, he said, well, we've heard that a couple of times, next Monday. I said, well, let's just pray that we don't have a week comes up with Monday missing. Then we'd have another week to wait for the next Monday. So a little joke a little bit. So we have nothing concrete on that. Okay? And Dennis was not able to deal with Iona, who is the person who has handled our business all the way along for Christ Chapel ever since the very get-go, many years ago. And she's been on vacation. So when you find in the minutes there that Dennis is supposed to take care of it, then he wasn't able to, and she's coming back. Is she coming back this week? Okay, so he'll be able to get to you something sound on that. Myself, I briefly went over the deal with the office, and we're not going to have a meeting. This is going to be a flash, but I want you to keep this in your hand, and please don't lose it. I don't want you to see you back in here when we finally do have a final say on this. You say, oh, I left it in my car. I left it at the office. I left it at the fishing club. I want you to left it at home in your pocket. I don't know. In your Bible, your whatever you carry to church on a regular basis. would like for a motion to eliminate the building that we are using for our office space in Kenya.
Can we do that?
Now listen to me. I want it made up, and I'm gonna have Sandy send the motion to Godfrey. Do we have a second on Nancy first?
I said,
We have second, thirds, and fourths. All right. The church body has made a motion. It's been duly seconded to eliminate Christ Chapel's office in Kenya. The church is ready for any legal rebuttal coming from the church registrar of Kenya. Duly recognize what the ruling says. But it is the desire of the body to eliminate, that word, get rid of the office, and search the possibilities of setting up a church office in one of the church buildings.